Hambleton Equine Clinic started in October 2012, set up by myself, my wife Caroline and another business partner Alison. And at that stage it was just an ambulatory practice run from Alison's garage actually. That was where we had the drugs and that's where we had our meetings. And I continued to work as a sort of peripatetic surgeon at a hospital in North Yorkshire, which was fantastic, gave us the opportunity to develop the caseload here and build it up. But you know, really it was born out of a frustration from trying to buy into another practice and take ownership, and so we ended up setting up. We waited for clients to call, they did, and we sort of built from there. And then in January 2016, end of 2015, right at the beginning of 2016, we opened the clinic that's behind me, and you know, that was important because I'm a surgeon by trade, so having a place to operate was important. And from there it's really grown, and now we have 16 vets, 2 surgeons, myself and Alistair, a team of nurses, which actually the nurses is one of the things I'm really pleased and proud about, because we've managed to take some people that worked on the yard to start with, put them through their training and then see them develop, as well as bring in some readily qualified nurses. But that's been a real pleasure seeing them come on. We probably operate on about 500 surgical cases. We have a dedicated dental team who probably do well over 100 sort of surgical, you know, or advanced dental procedures, if not more. And yeah, and it's been fun. The caseload has always been fairly racehorse and performance horse focused, but where we live and where we're situated in North Yorkshire and in the Teesside area, we have a really mixed caseload, from your tiny ponies, your pony club ponies, your the sort of travelling ponies and the racing, road racing standardbreds, as well as actually one of the things I love, having done my training in Michigan, is that we actually have a really strong standardbred racing stable, which is great to stay in touch with those horses. The caseload for surgery is brilliantly mixed. I mean, that's a real pleasure. We have, again, quite a strong airway caseload, but we have all sorts. I mean, my day-to-day is a number of airway surgeries, some arthroscopy and some melanomas, so it's a kind of nice broad mix, and we see that routinely week to week, and long may that continue. Probably one of the main reasons that we chose to use MED Equus is really going back to that historical relationship. Since MED Equus started, I think that with the addition of various people to the team, it's focused in on certain products. It's got a great reputation, it's very reliable. The very first time we didn't purchase through MED Equus, and the kit just didn't really last. It didn't, you know, it had various problems. We didn't have access to loan equipment, and it became quite a problem for a practice like us. You know, we've been fortunate to grow quite rapidly, but the problem with that is, if a bit of kit's down and you don't have a replacement bit of kit, then you're suddenly stuck, and you're getting behind in terms of work and appointments and letting your clients down. So when we finally gave up on the other equipment we had, we felt that MED Equus offered probably the kit that was at the top of the market. We had demoed it a couple of times, I'd seen it in use, and really we felt that it was strong, it had been around for a while, it was proven, and again, going back to the historical rapport that we had with the guys at MED Equus, it seemed like a logical choice to go with. Since we've had it, it's really delivered on all the points that we said it would, which I find is a rarity in veterinary equipment, especially equine, and it's really good. I mean, it's the things I like about it are that it appears to be pretty robust. It's easy to use. It took a bit of getting used to the different mechanism of driving it, but actually once you get used to that, once you move away from having the traditional wheel mechanism to the trigger type mechanism, it's actually ergonomically very good, and the image is excellent. The design is, I think, rather simplistic. You don't have the pumps, you don't have some of those other bits and pieces, which initially I thought was a disadvantage, but it's just less things to go wrong. And so the functionality is very good, the ease of use is very good. The adaptive nature of it, where you can have a couple of models that interchange with other models, i.e. a bigger screen that can clamp onto the stable door, or a more portable, smaller screen, which we use a lot on the racing yards and at the races, is a great addition. The fact it's laser compatible, again, was a big advantage to us from a surgical perspective, and really it's the build quality. If I had to say one of my favourite things about it, which might take you by surprise, is the boxes it comes in. They're robust, they pack into the car easily, they stay open when you hold them open, the stuff fits in them the way it should fit into them, and there's attention to detail in terms of how you clean the scope, so just the ease of use. You finish scoping the horse, it's really easy to have everything in one box, just to clean it, wipe it down, pack it away again, and that, I think, is a big reason why, if it's easy to look after, they last longer, and so far we've had very little problems with them. They've worked very, very well, and we've been very happy. It's a thoroughbred racehorse, hurdler. It's had an overground scope where we've diagnosed intermittent dorsal displacement of the soft palate. So now we're just scoping it ahead of a procedure, just to make sure at rest that there's nothing that we would have missed on the overground scope, no granulomas, no subepiglottic cysts, nothing odd like that, and that the airway is clean, there's no mucus, no blood or any of those things. So just a routine scope, but you can see the picture's really good, the use of the flush is easy, and the control of the scope is pretty good. You'll also notice that we're all wearing hats. Following a Beaver, how to keep your team safe, that's a policy that we're trying to adopt, because it only needs to go wrong once, and you don't need to learn that lesson twice. And there we are, so all done. Very easy, very good picture.
My role at the practice would be mainly stud work with a bit of a medicine caseload. So actually within the clinic I do a fair brunt of the kind of gastroscopes and assist with the medical caseload here within the hospital, as well as seeing a similar caseload out on the yards as well. Keep going please, Izzy. So one of the things that I really like about these scopes is just how adjustable they are between those two environments. So it's no more hassle or faff for me to do a gastroscope in the clinic as it is for me to do one out on the road at the yard as well. Everything's very compact, everything's very portable, and the image doesn't change within the different scopes that you're using or the different screens that you're using. So MED Equus as a company we find really, really easy to deal with. They are always at the end of the phone. The technicians also let you WhatsApp them, so any kind of horse-side problems that I've experienced, we're able to quickly send a video, send it straight to the technician, check that we're happy that the scope is supposed to be doing that, or if we're concerned in any way. And then if we are concerned, or even when they've just gone back for servicing, there's always a loan scope to replace that. So it means that the practice is never without the equipment, and we can continue our kind of horse-side appointments throughout, even if the scopes are away getting serviced or having little upgrades and things. So we've just come into the entrance of the stomach here, so we'll just pause at this point to let the stomach actually inflate with air. I might just turn that up a little bit. So we're just looking at the MARG applicators in front of us as the stomach inflates. We'll just give that a little bit of a minute to fill. But looking up at the top of the stomach there's no ulceration higher up, so that's good. She's nicely starved, so we can clearly see her stomach as well. So the MED Equus scopes are very, very easy to use. So previously I've used a scope with a wheel to control and to drive with, which makes it immediately a two-handed scope to use, whether to this drives with the levers. So you actually completely use the one hand to control and drive with the scope, leaving you your right hand free to be able to hold your position within the stomach or within the part of the horse that you're scoping, whilst then changing catheters or guide wires, or kind of putting biopsy forceps down your biopsy channels, and you have that right hand completely free to then aspirate without actually moving. So it's very, very simple to use. So we've just come all the way through now, and we're just at the pylorus, so the exit to the stomach. We're just having a look at it relaxing, contracting, just having a look at any ulceration around that area. There's a little bit of hyperemia and a bit of edema. Okay, I'm happy if you want to come back.
right now I'm just assessing this horse's larynx, seeing how it adducts its airway, getting an idea of whether or not it's doing everything it should be and functioning in the correct way. To do that, you know, this great bit of kit, you can change the light, we can have it nice and bright, we can dull that down when we need to if we've got too much reflection. The other really helpful thing about this is we can quite easily do tracheal wash with this piece of kit. Just pop the little catheter down the side of the scope, flush your sample in, draw it back, and then you know, straight away you've got your sample, get that in the post and find out what we need to. Day-to-day work varies between a little bit of race work and then general sort of, you know, competition work, leisure horses. So pretty much a mixed bag across the board. And this kit seems to allow us to sort of offer what we need to offer every different client. So whether that be turn up on a yard first thing in the morning, get the kit out of the car, bash on, get the job going as fast as possible, or you know, the other instance where we arrive at a yard, we're taking time, we're having a chat with a client, we're trying to get to the bottom of what the problem is. This bit of kit allows you to be instant with diagnosis or take your time, you know, really work things through. The bit I really like about both this and our other MED Equus scope is the ability to get into guttural pouches in, you know, with both bits of kit. It's a little bit fiddly, but you can get in straight away with both pieces of equipment, get a diagnosis, you know, get a sample.